Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
A Qantas flight between Tasmania and Melbourne has been added to the list of potential exposure sites after a healthcare worker tested positive for COVID-19 2 days after leaving the state. Today, a further 690 Tasmanians received COVID
jurisdictions, particularly Greater Sydney at the moment, how quickly COVID can spread. And we're really appreciative of the quick response of the businesses and the wider Tasmanian community.
Meanwhile, Victoria will enforce much stricter travel restrictions from midnight, no longer allowing anyone from New South Wales or the ACT to enter the state. Tasmania's borders are currently only closed to Greater Sydney and high-risk premises in Queensland. To the day's other news now, and the 6 survivors of a horror crash on the Bass Highway yesterday remain in hospital in a stable condition. 3 teenagers, a woman and a 4-week-old baby will spend another night in the LGH, while a man has been airlifted to the Royal Hobart Hospital for treatment today. The tragedy resulted in the deaths of a Victorian man and woman who were on holidays with their 3 children. Icy conditions have wreaked havoc on roads across the state this weekend. Just overnight, police responded to 9 incidents, including 3 on Hobart's southern outlet. Temperatures dropped as low as 2 degrees in the capital, while the mercury plummeted to -3 in Launceston. Tasmania Police is warning motorists to be cautious on icy roads, particularly early in the morning. A TAFE program preparing Tasmanians for careers in agriculture is once again open for applications. But it's much younger students that has the Labor Party worried, with new data revealing the alarming suspension rates in the state schools.
Hillwood Berries is expanding operations on its popular farm.
We'll hopefully have just over 2 million strawberry plants to pick and 50 odd hectares of tunnel cropping to pick for next season.
Leaving the recruitment of additional staff high on its to-do list. The Education Minister trying her hand today whilst brooking TasTAFE's Agri-Skills Entry program.
Teaching our young people entering the agricultural industry, or those older Tasmanians wanting to transfer to this industry, new skills.
Really does help increase your chances of being more employable.
But it's much younger students leaving Labor concerned. New data today revealing that in 2020, almost 6,800 suspensions were handed out in Tasmanian schools, with 1,275 students excluded as a result of physical abuse against their peers.
We've seen it jump about 25% over 4 years.
The numbers remaining high despite many spending several months last year learning remotely, some of those students as young as 4 or 5.
I think it's unacceptable for kinder and prep kids to be suspended. However, there are unique and unusual and quite specific circumstances where this has had to happen.
Labor says it shows some kids aren't getting the help they deserve.
We need to make sure school is an engaging place for children to learn.
We want to make sure that the students and the staff are well supported.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
A car has been set alight in Newnham. Neighbours say they heard a loud bang when the ute went up in flames on Swan Street at around 11:30 last night. It's understood no one was home at the time, and fortunately the blaze didn't spread to the house. The destroyed vehicle was removed this morning. 4 in 5 Tasmanians with diabetes say they felt judged or shamed for having the disease. Advocates are looking to change that, asking people to have conversations with diabetics about the way it affects their daily lives.
Rachel Duthie found out she was diabetic when she was just 9. Being told her limitations didn't sit well with her.
I was growing up, there are lots of things that I was told that I couldn't do because I have diabetes. Big outdoor pursuits or adventures was one of them.
She now works as an adventure guide with other diabetics.
I think everyone has their own journey with it and their own ideas around limitations that they might have because of diabetes. And I feel like stigma probably plays a big part in that.
There are 2 million diabetics in Australia. 80% of them report feeling blamed or shamed. A new report by Diabetes Australia is highlighting their experiences.
I think a lot of them relate to people's misconceptions and myths and misunderstanding about what diabetes is.
Probably annoyed me the most with the blame and shame is that everyone seems to know a really bad diabetic, and there's no such thing as a bad or a good diabetic. Everyone has their own personal diabetes.
They're looking to tackle that stigma during National Diabetes Week, starting tomorrow.
That looks amazing.
It looks like diabetes on a plate.
Should you be eating that?
But I think it's important that we actually act with kindness and with empathy and with understanding.
Calling on family, friends and co-workers to take the time to ask what they're going through and try to understand.
I try very hard to be very open about my diabetes now, especially as I've got older, because a lot of my friends have never known.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
A new theatre group is hoping to bring together Launceston's queer performing arts community. Familiar Q says it's looking to improve LGBT plus visibility in the area, with its first event being a drag and dine night.
It is slowly starting to gradually be driven, but I really wanted to bring a monthly event that would continuously show the diversity within Launceston.
I think it's important to say, hey, it's okay, and have people there that you can look up to and be inspired to, or just be creative and have a creative outlet to do basically their gender expression or their sexual expression.
Tonight's event will see 2 drag queens and a drag king perform.
A clean sheet for the Hobart Chargers men's team on the road, winning all 3 games over the weekend. Tasmania's men's teams are now first and second on the ladder, with an overtime thriller nailing the Northwest Thunder to the top.
Down by 7 with less than 2 minutes to go against Melbourne, the Thunder looked dead and buried, but a determined final burst had Sire Deans clasp the clutch moment.
Oh, and triple answered.
Scores level at the whistle, Paul Campbell wasn't going home without a win, ticking off the first 2 baskets in overtime before Deans again held his nerve.
Has to shoot for the Thunder. He gets it to fall off the bank shot.
The 4-point win sees the Thunder in top spot after the side also pushed aside Dandenong overnight, 77-71. The Chargers are right behind the Thunder after a John O'Mines-inspired win over Knox. Hobart dunked its way to the win, 87-92, following a 17-point win over Albury-Wodonga last night. In the women's, mixed results for the Launceston Tornadoes beating Dandenong by 21 overnight, Mariah Payne and Keely Frolling each having 30-point games. Today, though, the Tawns were shattered by a 1-point defeat to Melbourne in overtime. The potential match winner was blocked, but we can't help but admire the half-court shot after the buzzer. The Chargers, missing Maddie Garrick, continue to struggle. They've now lost 9 games straight today, a 36-point hammering from Knox. In the NPL, Launceston City turned over a Clarence Zebras counter-attack early in their match to be on the front foot before a fine cross was duly converted to seal a 2-0 win. Over at Warrior Park, this solo effort in the box had scores even between Olympia and Kingborough before the Lions snuck a second past the goalkeeper to lock away the win. It simply wasn't South Hobart's day in the Women's Super League. At Clarence, Zebra's lob somehow snuck through to land a 4-1 win. And Olympia drew 2-2 with Kingborough. And in off-road racing, Railton's Jonty Reinders is now leading the King of the Paddock in the Tasmanian Endurance Riders Club Grass Track Series, overtaking Kyron Bacon at Yolla. Hugh McKay was behind Reinders in second. Tate Young edged out Callum Penny in the 85cc Juniors, and entries doubled for the side-by-sides, with the new format welcoming 12 starters on the track.
Good evening. 14 in Devonport today, Burnie 13 and 12 across Hobart and Launceston. 15 was the state's top today across at Helen Strawn and Flinders Island, Grove 11 and 13 at Smithton. On the close-up shows low-level cloud over northern Tasmania with high-level cloud moving across the remainder of the state. Further out, cloud bands rotate about low-pressure systems southwest of South Australia and west of WA. Tomorrow shows a high-pressure system over eastern and western Australia. Northeast to northwesterly winds 15 to 25 knots tomorrow, swells up to 3.5 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. A strong wind warning is current for western and northern western coastal waters from southeast Cape to Stanley, and a road weather alert is current for the upper Derwent Valley for icy roads. Tomorrow's forecast now, partly cloudy across Hobart and Dover, 12 in Ouse. In the north, a shower or two in Launceston, 13 across Devonport and Scottsdale. Burnie and Stanley, tomorrow showers increasing, 15 in Strawn. St Helens and Swansea, partly cloudy and morning fog in Ross. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast, Tuesday showers about the northwest and central areas. Wednesday statewide showers with north to northwesterly winds, and Thursday rain about the north, easing to the showers in the afternoon. Capital cities 20 and showers in Perth tomorrow. Sydney partly cloudy and 33 in Darwin. And currently Hobart 6 and partly cloudy, Launceston 7 and Devonport 9 and cloudy. That's all for weather tonight, Lou.
Beautiful, thanks for that, Jackie.